And now I'm honored, proud, and downright happy to introduce you the voice that saved my life. Please welcome California Highway Patrol Sergeant Kevin Briggs to the stage, everybody.
Well, thank you all. Thank you very much. Good evening, and really thank you for having me at this incredible event. As Kevin mentioned, I spent many years in uniform trying to save lives like his, and I'm proud to think that I had a hand in helping lots of people at their worst time in their lives, really. But there are still so many others who desperately need our help. That's why, in my retirement, I've been traveling around the world, and I started an organization called Pivotal Points to try to get to folks long before they get up to the bridge or on top of a building or any place else where they can do themselves harm. I've battled with both depression and cancer, so I know how dark things can get. But I also know how much good we can do to help stop suicide by being vocal, being vigilant, and standing up for those who struggle. Each of us has our own stories and our own reasons for being here this evening. As the sun begins to set, we remember those reasons, and we use two symbols to keep them in our sight and in our hearts. Our luminaria reminds us that the light of those we've lost is never truly extinguished, and that no matter how dark life may seem sometimes, to those struggling with a mental illness or addiction, the light of hope is always present. Our honor beads pay tribute to the loved ones lost, a personal struggle, or a victory. They come in many colors, representing the diversity of our community's connections to this cause. It's my honor to introduce you to some of the extraordinary people who are a part of our community. Wearing gold beads for the loss of a parent is Alyssa Baum. Less than a year ago, Alyssa's mother, Jerry Ann, died by suicide. Jerry had a thriving greeting card company, was happily married to the love of her life, and lived for Alyssa and her sister, Valerie. But in the last few months of her life, she battled severe depression and anxiety. Though her family tried to get her help, it was difficult in the conservative, rural Pennsylvania town that they lived in. For Alyssa, grief has been an incredible teacher and an unexpected transformation. She now knows how to ask for what she needs in life, and she hopes to one day be able to help others suffering through a suicide loss. Tonight is an excellent start to that goal. Rosie Wallacever wears white beads to symbolize the loss of a child. 10 years ago this occurred. Rosie lost her only child, Adam Correnti, to suicide. Adam's infectious smile and laughter brightened everyone's day, especially when his Boston Red Sox and New England Patriots were winning. Rosie has been involved with AFSP for 9 years and serves as the treasurer of the Nevada organization. Fantastic. She doesn't miss an opportunity to bring awareness to mental illness and suicide risk, including tonight, which would have been Adam's 30th birthday. Rosie walks through the night to make sure our youth know that there is hope and light in this world. Troy Fluke, a veteran, is honored to have served with outstanding men and women of the armed forces. Troy wears silver beads representing military and first responders. Troy served in the Army for 6 years and he continues to help his fellow vets. As a veteran representative for the Utah Department of Workforce Services, he helps veterans, specifically those with disabilities, reintegrate into civilian life through career-building opportunities. Troy is here today representing all veterans, like himself, who have attempted suicide and those who continue to struggle. He and his partner, Alicia, are walking tonight in the hopes of bringing light back into the lives of so many. Terry Baldwin wears purple beads symbolizing the loss of a friend or relative. Terry is part of the Palo Alto Educators Association and is walking with her colleagues to show their students that their teachers care about them and are available to talk and provide resources. It breaks her heart to see her community go through a tragedy such as the suicide clusters Palo Alto has been experiencing. Terry has also lost a loved one in her personal life to suicide. She hopes that tonight will further destigmatize mental health and allow more people, especially students, to get the help that they need. Wearing teal beads symbolizing the friends and family of those with mental illness conditions is Brian Siegel. Brian first realized that no one talked about suicide during his school years when people he knew struggled with depression and took their own lives. Shortly after college, Brian came upon someone in the midst of a suicide attempt and helped to save her. It wasn't until many years later, when a close friend lost her mom and stepmom within a 2-week period, that Brian decided that he had to get involved. Over his last 8 Out of Darkness walks, he's learned that virtually everyone has a connection to suicide or depression, but many are afraid to talk about it. Brian is here today, like so many of you, to be the voice for all those who cannot or will not speak up for mental health. Exactly 1 year ago today, Marty Bull lost Annika, his wife of over 30 years, to suicide. Marty wears red beads to symbolize the loss of a partner or spouse. Marty and Annika met as students at Stanford while skiing in Lake Tahoe. Annika worked in engineering and marketing for almost 20 years, and she and Marty had 2 daughters, Christy and Emily. Both are here tonight. After her retirement, Annika was active in philanthropy and community service. She loved hiking, reading, and entertaining, and she will be dearly missed by her large extended family and countless friends. Marty and his daughters are walking through the night as part of their personal healing journey and to help remove the stigma around mental illness and suicide. They walk so that others know that there is no shame in getting help. Nicholas Lastine wears orange beads representing the loss of a sibling because in November of 2012, his sister Caitlin died by suicide at the age of 23. Nicholas first noticed his sister's anxiety and depression in high school when she began to withdraw because of her illness. She enjoyed the arts and spent her time writing and creating art in her room, but Caitlin struggled at work and isolated herself because she felt she was a burden. It is hard for Nicholas and his family to know that while they witnessed Caitlin's struggle, they didn't know how to stop it. While nothing can be done for those we have lost, much can be done for those who are still here. Nicholas walks overnight to help fight suicide, promote mental health, lower stigmas, and honor all of those lost by suicide. Blue beads symbolize support for suicide prevention. In 2006, David Pinio's wife, Karen, heard an ad for the first San Francisco overnight walk, just months after losing her aunt to suicide. They registered for the event immediately. The family has also been touched by 2 other suicide losses, and David's child, Kara and CJ, have lived with bipolar disorder for most of their young lives. David has been involved in the local community walk here in San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose. In 2013, he became chair of the San Francisco Walk. David is humbled at every walk by the stories that he hears. He walks tonight to say, We are not alone. We are all together now, holding out our hands to support one another. Kevin Feliciano wears greed beads, symbolizing his own personal struggle. Kevin, like many LGBTQ youth, faced depression at an early age. Coming out was a traumatic experience, and after a few months and a suicide attempt, his friends and family reached out to save him. In college, Kevin got involved in local and statewide student governments and shared his story with educators and policymakers. Through his hard work, he helped to secure a $6 million grant for mental health awareness and activities. Sharing his story has also given him strength and confidence that he did not have in his early years. Kevin's overnight walk is to encourage those who are struggling with depression and suicide to seek the help of their friends, family, and mental health professionals. These beads, these luminaria, these courageous people, they represent our dedication, our commitment, and our strength as a community. We are united in our goal and determined to bring suicide prevention out of the darkness and save lives.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Kevin. And thank you to all who are part of our bead ceremony for sharing your stories. I hope you'll remember these luminaria and the people that they represent. And when you return after our journey, we'll gather here for a brief closing, and these lights, they will be joined by many, many more, representing the strength that we've gained and our collective desire for a world without suicide. Well, now we're ready to begin. Are you ready to begin? Well, I'd like our North Stars, those walkers who've raised $10,000 or more, and their team members to help lead us in our walk. Please, if you're a North Star, make your way to the back as we'll be walking out between those trees. And I'd like our top fundraising team, the Greater San Francisco Bay Area chapter team. They've raised $120,000. I'd like them to join the North Stars. We have a truly spectacular walk ahead of us tonight. Are you ready to bring our message of hope to the streets of San Francisco? Are you ready to walk from dusk to dawn? Are you ready to lead the fight against suicide? Well, let's begin the 2016 Out of the Darkness San Francisco Walk. We'll see you in the morning.